Hi and welcome along to the weekend roundup of the Premier League games here on DR Sports. What are you all laughing for? Around me, people are going, jeez.
None of us have got 3 points this weekend.
Yeah.
None of us, compared to last week when we all did.
You speak for yourself about points. You know what I mean? We'll get to that soon, right? Very, very soon. But first of all, I have to introduce our esteemed panel. Sat right next to me, the beautiful Abby Summers, a massive Tottenham fan. I've got to look after her today.
Good morning.
Good morning, Abby. It's great to have you on as usual.
Happy to be here. Really happy to be here this morning.
I think she's being sarcastic there.
Next to me, and I'm glad to see you're still smiling. Last week, honestly, you came in here.
Energy gang.
Energy. You were buzzing. You bounced in here. You didn't walk in here. You bounced in here. AGT
so.
from the Cop TV, massive Liverpool fan.
Not anymore.
And also Matisse, of course, Chelsea fan. And great to have you on as usual, Matisse.
Got a point, but mad. Not happy at all. Just so disappointed. The whole weekend's gone just tits up, really. You know?
This is a very
Even
moody
Lewis Hamilton,
roundtable.
you know, in the Formula One, just everything's gone wrong. I'm not gonna lie. Everything's gone wrong.
Anyway, and listen, me, of course, you know, Arsenal fan, and we only got a point. And it's a really, really interesting weekend. I mean, and I think this weekend actually sums up the Premier League. That is why this league is the best league in the world, right? Because you can't just call it. You can't just say, oh, Real Madrid are going to Cadiz or whatever, right? It's going to be 5-0, right? In this
Great
league,
ground, Cadiz.
in this league, anything can happen, right? Because there is a lot of quality around many of the teams. So, where should we start?
Should have done a poll. They could have told us.
We could have decided at which sadness we start at first.
Might as well go chronologically.
Let's start with Liverpool,
Yeah,
because
why
Liverpool
not?
was the first game on the Saturday. Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest. Liverpool had a great win last week. Of course, you were here. You told us all about it for the whole show. But they had a great win, beating Manchester City. Won again during the week against West Ham. West Ham felt they were a bit unlucky to not have got a penalty. But, 2 victories in a row.
They got the penalty. They just missed it.
Going to they missed the penalty. And going to the bottom team in the league, and you're thinking, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you right now, right? When I was at home, I was like, oh, we'll watch some football now. I was like, Liverpool versus Forest. I was like, do I really want to watch this beatdown? Yeah, I'll watch it. I love my football. I'll watch it. I couldn't believe what I watched. Credit Nottingham Forest. What an excellent performance by them. They worked their socks off and they got the win. 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. And I've got to say, it was a very, very poor Liverpool performance. AGT, what happened?
Well, we just couldn't score. Massive shout out to Nottingham Forest for winning that game. They say records don't matter, but we haven't actually won there in the league ever, in the Premier League era. I know it's been 20 odd years since we played them there, but these things
that helps.
These things still stand. Horrible place to go to the early kickoff, which I guess we didn't really need after playing late in the week on Wednesday. Massive injury to Thiago with that ear infection. I mean, has he been swimming in the local Lido or something? I don't know how he's got that. And Darwin was injured as well. So we had to start with Harvey and Curtis in midfield, which I'm cool with. But in an away performance like that, when the crowd are up for it, it's windy as anything, then you're going to struggle. But don't try and put that. I'm not.
Ty once said he blamed the rain.
I'm not getting into this category. They deserve to win.
Klopp has blamed the wind before. He's blamed the grass.
Yeah, of course.
He's blamed the
The
stars.
finances.
He's blamed the
Can't compete.
the planets and the alignments.
Yeah, that's it.
Forest did sign a lot of players this season.
Star signs, all of that.
Star signs, yeah.
But no, listen, they deserve to win. We couldn't score on the day. Henderson had a great game, putting his middle finger up to Liverpool fans at the end. If Klopp did that, there'd be massive news about it. Forest fans again singing about Hillsborough, even though they were there on the day in 1989, which to me makes no sense. But forget all of that. We deserve to lose the game. Which and going back to what you said about it being the best league in the world, I don't think any other league you can go and beat the best team and then lose to the worst team the week after. So the Premier League is crazy. Every week we're talking about a new club. This week it's Newcastle. Last week it was Arsenal. So there's so many twists and turns. Horrible to lose. Horrible to not score. Just poor, man.
I mean, listen, with all those things you just named out as reasons what could have cost you were things that Liverpool just brushed aside normally. You know what I mean? You know, going away to a game.
We haven't won away this season, though,
at
Rob.
12:30. You know, yeah, I'm on about in previous seasons.
Mad stat.
That means nothing. That means
Wow.
nothing, does it? But at the moment, there's a real problem with Liverpool. Like you said, you haven't won an away game this season, which that seems incredible.
It's
for
not
Liverpool.
like us, though. It's, you know, we normally
what's
home or
wrong?
away, it's fine. Like, I don't know.
You've got a lot of injuries, though.
The injuries, but again, I don't want to. The players that were on the pitch didn't do enough to win the game, injuries or not, and I don't want to blame injuries, but we obviously have got a lot, and we should have them, most of them, back for Ajax on Wednesday. But
Salah wasn't injured, though.
Salah was non-existent.
Van Dijk wasn't injured.
Poor from Van Dijk. Gomez had a poor game as well. Defensively, if you actually look at their goal, it's always Liverpool that an ex-player comes and scores against us, by the way. Big up to Taiwo Awoniyi, who played at Liverpool. I think he played one game for us. Couldn't get the break, but obviously went on loan and did really well. And now he's scoring goals against us in the Premier League. It is what it is. But for that goal, Van Dijk stood still, Gomez stood still. And Alisson, I mean, how many times are we going to give him the man of the match? It shouldn't be happening. He saved us that game from losing that 3-0.
Yeah.
With the incredible save. Yates had a great game. He was the man of the match. But Alisson, and Robertson was right. We keep letting him down. The defence keeps letting him down.
I thought that Czech Coyote as well.
He ran his socks off.
He had a great game.
Ran his socks off.
I mean, what did you make of Matisse? I mean,
not
Liverpool now.
When they sign that many players, it's like
It's got to work.
they
at some
can't compete.
stage.
You know what I mean? It's like it's a lot of players that they've signed. Let's be real. The money that they've spent. You agree with me, right?
He's trying something silly here, isn't he? Sausage.
Do you know what it was? Yeah, when I seen the 11 and I seen the young midfielders, I said, "Oh, this could be sticky," because it's not the kind of game that you want to throw in these young players, because you know what it is atmosphere-wise at the City Ground, especially when they've just come up. This is a big year for them, and I think for me, it's like it's getting difficult to even analyze Liverpool because they're so poor this season. It doesn't even make sense anymore. Like, where is Salah? Like, literally, where is he? Like, what's going on now? It's beyond the joke. Do you know
But
what I mean?
the past few games,
He made
you know
4
what I mean?
passes the whole game.
That's what I'm saying.
The past few games, though, he's sort of been back to his best, but
Yeah, but do you know what it is with Salah at this point is that I don't want to go and say, oh, because you played a great game against Man City, the whole team was great. Do you know what I mean? It feels like the whole team needs to be firing before you really see him at his best again. I haven't seen Salah step up when Liverpool have been struggling for a while. Maybe I'm wrong in
Apart
saying
from the
that.
City game, but
Yeah,
I agree.
But City, you guys played well. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah.
the whole team. There was more than just Salah in that game in terms of man of the matches. But Salah needs to, on that massive contract, highest paid player, all these things, you know, world-class legend, all these things. You've got to be able to do something out of nothing for this team because they are they're dying. Do you know what I mean? The
Serge
team is
Aurier
dying.
pocketing Salah. What is
Yeah,
that
I mean,
about?
It's just 4 passes. I mean, I don't even know how you manage that.
is the problem, AGT, you're playing Salah through the middle for a lot of that game.
That's what they said they needed to do. Well, I thought...
Well, he plays really well.
But he's
through the
always
middle.
been most effective when he's been playing out wide.
That's a 50-50 on that. If you ask some Liverpool fans, they'd say, and we have seen most of his goals come from that left, but
Played
when
centrally
Darwin's
against
out,
City.
you have to play him through the middle. And we did that.
But
It
you
didn't
can
work.
play Firmino for a minute.
Yeah, you can, and that's what they did, but they were swapping over a lot during the game, so there's never, you're here and that's where you stay. You know the Liverpool 3 will move around. And his touches, his lack of clinicalness, it just didn't look like Salah.
Are you worried, right? I know it's still early, 11 games gone.
I'm not really
right?
worried, to be honest.
Are you worried that Liverpool won't... I'm not even talking about league now. I'm talking about top 4. 16 points you're on.
Yeah.
Are you worried that you might not get the top 4 because you're still behind, you know, we're behind Fulham, Manchester United,
Still
Chelsea.
too early to write us off for a top 4.
No, you wouldn't
Right.
write you off,
So
but
early.
it could be... I felt like...
It's a small blip, I
It's
think.
I think it's gonna be a top 4 fight for you guys this year.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that you're not gonna
and I've
make
said
it,
that.
but I think that's now got to be the objective because there can't be any more title talk and this whole we're gonna do the 10-12 game run. You can't just assume these things are gonna happen in a World Cup year. when you've got a load of injuries. I
think the World Cup will help us massively.
I think it will help Salah. He's obviously not going to the World Cup.
There's loads of players that aren't going for us.
Who else is not going for you? Key starters.
I mean, Van Dijk's going, Alisson's going. They could obviously get injured.
So who's not going?
But the likes of Trent probably won't go.
Well,
I don't think Trent will go.
Diaz is obviously injured. Trent probably will go, you know? Trent's fit.
Keita, I mean, all these players that didn't qualify for the World Cup aren't going. But I think less than the players going, it's more the time that we'll have, the break. And I think going into next season, I'll be worried if we play like this after the World Cup. Before it's a small blip in the road to recovery. We won 3 games in a row. Everyone thought, Liverpool kind of back. And then out of nowhere, we lose this, which is totally unacceptable. But I think...
It's the manner of the loss. Isn't it, Abby?
100%.
I mean, you could lose, but the manner of that loss was... I was watching the game and I was a bit shocked.
Yeah,
it was so not Liverpool.
I think that's how I kind of view any type of loss. It's the way in which you lose a game.
Yeah.
And I think with you guys, I do think injuries is affecting you. I think you have been in this weird kind of transition already this season. I know obviously losing Mane, I don't think anyone probably expected that it would cause such a ripple effect. I think it has more than maybe people would care to admit or thought about. And I think having new players come in, someone like Darwin Núñez, for me, he wasn't a typical person that you would go and sign. He's a different type.
He looked unreal on Wednesday night, by the way. I was at the game.
But again, he's a little bit inconsistent. He's a bit hit and miss for me. And I know that obviously
he hasn't had a run of games, though.
It definitely takes time in the Premier League when anyone comes in. But you see how seamlessly you've recruited in the past. People like Diaz or Jota, they fit perfectly into your system. And I think that he's a little bit different, which is fine because you want that option. But I think it's just, kind of getting the ball rolling. And you have got other members in your squad which are ageing, and I think that you can definitely see that, maybe more so in your midfield if you'd agree. And I think that sometimes when you have injuries and you have an ageing squad, and I'm only going off of history from watching Tottenham in that same situation a few years back, it is a lot more noticeable when the tide turns.
I think what Liverpool need to do is go into January, find 2 Premier League proven midfielders that suit their system and go and get them. Not 1, 2. Is that deep? That midfield is on its last legs, regardless.
But then we probably can't buy Jude, and that's the long.
I wouldn't. With Real Madrid and City, and I wouldn't even waste a second thinking about Jude Bellingham. To be honest, I really wouldn't.
We've put the most work in so far to make that deal happen. Yeah. Whether we get it or not, or we're outbid, is another thing.
But waiting on that, would you rather?
No, I'm not saying that's right.
I'm just saying hypothetically, would you rather wait and hold out on that till whenever that comes to fruition, maybe in the summer, but potentially miss out on a top 4 place this season in doing that?
And then he might not come if we don't get top 4.
I feel like you'll go and kind of half and fit. Even if you don't buy 2, buy 1.
I feel like your midfield needs that much surgery. You could get Bellingham afterwards, but Thiago's injury prone. You got to do something about that. Keita's injury prone. Ox, all of the midfield. Fabinho's dropped off massively. Massively.
He was getting bullied.
I don't even recognise him anymore. Henderson, so you probably need to bring in about 3 midfielders in the next year or so anyway.
The whole year, like you say,
surgery. Of the team. I think
the
defence will get better if the midfield has the energy that it had before when you guys were at your best. And I think the forwards, they might improve as well. I think the midfield is really the Achilles heel of this team right now.
Yeah, I looked at a stat, Robbie, just before we move on. I think the last time one of our midfielders got an assist was in May.
Wow.
Jesus. And that was Thiago against Wolves last day of the season. And you can even, Curtis Jones' last assist was that Salah super goal against City last year in October 2021. These guys aren't chipping in with goals or assists. And is it aging? Is it injuries? Is it lack of consistency with who you put in the midfield? We're changing systems all the time, 4-2-4, 4-3-3. We need a run of games, man, where we settle on a formation or 3 names in the midfield and just go for it. Get to the World Cup and then reassess.
Can I just ask you something so quickly before we move on? Are you questioning Klopp at all, or no?
No.
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 Why?
Just wondering.
I don't think you can blame Klopp
You
for
just
what
said
happened.
about you just said about formations.
We had to.
He makes
the
the formations.
You need him to move with the times. We're talking about
He makes the
systems.
formations. He decides on the team.
For sure. And he has to take some blame.
He's the one who brought the players in the summer. He's the one who said we don't need no one.
But if
then
you're asking
changed his
me,
mind and said actually, yeah, we do need someone. He's the one who brought in Darwin Núñez. He's the one who's he's the manager.
So far, I'd say
he's the one that gets all the praises when you're doing well.
Yeah,
why are you
for
not
sure. He has to
questioning him
take
now
some
when he's
blame.
not doing well?
But if you're trying to put me into this thing of do you need to change your manager, I'm not.
I didn't ask you that.
But I know.
What's wrong with you getting all touchy?
No. Listen,
just calm down. I mean, no one said that to you. just simply.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
No one needs to
man.
pressure you.
Relax. We're not saying that yet. We're just asking you.
He takes some of the blame, of course he
We're asking
does.
you if you question it.
He takes some of the blame, of course he does.
Do you question the manager?
He takes some of the blame, of course he does.
That
But I
was all.
can't. But he
Don't shoot
can
the
only work
messenger.
with what he's got. Look at these injuries. He can
Quick
only work
question.
with what he's
But
got.
you know,
I can't blame
You're
him.
going to ask
No.
me the same
He
question.
takes
in
some
about
of the
half
blame.
an hour.
injuries is
Yeah,
one thing.
trust me. When we get onto Tottenham, I'm coming for you, man.
Injuries is one thing, and you do have injuries, but there are a lot of key players that are still there. Like Salah is one of your key players, right?
I can't blame Klopp for that,
Right.
can I? For
No,
Salah
no,
not
but I'm saying
performing.
you keep saying about injuries, but some of your key players. Last year, if these players that played on Saturday were missing, and they were injured, you would be quite rightly, you'd be saying, "Oh my God, Robbie, we're missing Salah, we're missing Fabinho, we're missing Van Dijk. That's our spine gone."
Yeah, and they haven't
But
been
they're all
performing.
playing.
They haven't been performing.
He's out.
The way in which the energy can change
It's mad.
from last
Every week, it's up and
I'm
down.
not looking to get on
Every
you.
week, bro.
Ashai, by the way, says top teams are exhausted already. So
Mm-hmm.
obvious. How can teams be exhausted already?
Because there's so many games, man.
11
10 games in
games.
30
But
days.
you're playing like 3 games a week, you know,
Yeah.
some weeks, especially if you're, you know, in
a lot of games,
Champions League or Europa League. It's a lot. You are jamming it. Look, don't get me wrong. There's also that argument they are athletes. They get paid a lot of money to do this job. I understand
no
that,
recovery
but
time
there's
though,
no
is there?
recovery time for your body, and there is fatigue, and that is why
Robbie,
this
man,
season
there
is
is-
very, very weird.
there
Played
is-
Bodo Glimt the other day.
listen,
They don't
listen.
know what we're
Yeah,
talking about.
Listen,
Exactly.
there is fatigue. I understand it. There is fatigue, right? But even with my own team,
Yeah.
I don't like to hear the excuses about tiredness all the time. This later on in the season, I get it. We've played 11 games, man.
Yeah, but we're paying 10 games in a
games,
month.
yeah.
This
Yeah, I
month is
know, but-
unlike any other month
And-
we've
and-
ever
and
seen.
every
I'm
October.
team-
tired when I do gym 3 times in a week. So
The
imagine
nation-
like,
I think the
Every
Nations League
single
as well.
one of these
That didn't
top,
help.
every single one of these top teams knew what was coming this season.
Yep.
They knew the World Cup's coming.
Yep.
They've had time to prepare for it.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I
And
just,
by the way, the money was there.
I don't want to hear it like
We did
excuses.
buy someone to cover us, but he got injured as well.
That was the terrible signing. You know, so
injuries
so
do-
I hear what you're saying. I don't think anybody really should feel sorry for the top clubs. You got the most money. You've got
Biggest squads.
all of the know-how. You've been here, done it before. You know what's coming. And Liverpool have just come out of an injury crisis, so you got to learn
Yeah.
from that. Chelsea come out of an injury crisis. We didn't learn from it again by not getting a midfielder. Tough luck.
I sat down at the start of the season. I'm like, Arsenal, I like the players we've bought in, but I question, is that enough? Because we've got the World Cup coming up in the middle of the season. If I can see it, then everybody, I mean, if
You're in the
run
wrong
it-
job, Robbie. You're in the wrong job.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you take a chance.
Manager Robbie, get him in.
with it, which Klopp obviously did, because there were a lot of fans. I would listen to a lot of Liverpool
all
fans
said they needed a
saying
midfielder.
we need midfielders, and he said he didn't.
Yeah.
So he has to take the blame for that.
Yeah.
We've got another super chat here from Drives Me Crazy. He says, we wanted to ask Jason, what brand of handheld microphone do you use in your outdoor interview? That's a
Rhodes, aren't
That's
they?
a different one. Is it Rhodes?
I think they're Rhodes.
Foam conversions. All right, foam conversions. There you go. Giving out free information.
Well, they should
live
be paying
on
us
it.
for this.
Should be
Honestly.
paid for that.
Well, he did pay, didn't
Should be paid for that. We've got another
Phone
super.
conversion should be though.
he? He paid for that information.
Got another
yeah.
super chat here.
No,
Todd
I mean
Miller.
them. They should be paying.
Todd Miller, big up to Todd Miller, is a regular on the show, big Chelsea fan. He says, still fuming over the draw, but however, seeing Spurs being Spurs made me feel a bit better. Newcastle, he says, are scary. But let's go to that game on Saturday night.
God.
Chelsea versus Manchester United. You would have been jumping up and down when you got that penalty,
Oh, believe
thinking
me.
that you've
than you
nicked
can
it.
More than you can believe. I was ecstatic.
But credit to Man United, they come back and they got a goal right at the end, and I think they deserved it because for much of that game, Man United were the better team.
Yeah.
What did you make of it?
It's really calmer for the way we played in the first half. You know, we were so poor. We couldn't get out of our own half. Man United dominated on the ball. They had all of the possession, 64%, percent possession at times. They dealt with all of the transitions, I'll call them, because it wasn't really any threat on the counter from us. They dealt with that. Casemiro was ridiculous. I walked away from that game thinking Casemiro is exactly what we need in our midfield. There's other issues as well. You know, I don't think Aspie really should be starting consistently year in, year out. Now, obviously, Reece James is injury prone. We shouldn't really have given him an extension and given him a higher wage. And I feel like this is a little bit sentimental from us and not as ruthless as it needs to be. And that's why I wouldn't give new contracts to Jorginho or Kante. I would let them walk for free because we need to get midfielders just like Liverpool do. We needed to get midfielders years ago. So, but the performance was so poor. I mean, Loftus-Cheek turning over the ball, Jorginho, you know, getting glided past. He's literally looking up to the gods to see if they can help him to give him the extra boost. It's not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? It's time and time again I'm seeing the same flaws in this team. Aspie's too slow as well on that side. So Man United just destroyed us. You know, they should have won the game, really. They should have won the game. They missed so many chances. Anthony was nutmegging people down the right. He was tearing people up. Absolute beast in comparison to Sancho. I don't know how he's acclimatized just like that. He's been ridiculously good for them. And yeah, they just walked all over us and we couldn't do anything. Sterling, Aubameyang also only 4 passes. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody up there was involved. And I walked away thinking, I'm gutted that we conceded a late equaliser. Like, I was fuming. I would have come in here shamelessly, you know, this morning. I would have come in here shamelessly if we'd won that game, despite playing poorly. But we didn't deserve to win and we didn't get it. And Man United should have won the game, really.
Yeah, they should have. They were good, Man United.
Yeah, I think especially kind of up until you made that change, taking Cucurella off and bringing on Kovacic. I think after that you definitely found your way a bit more in the game. Yeah. But my question on that was, obviously that was a tactical thing from Potter. Why would you not start Kovacic in the first place?
So Kovacic was injured, and this is the issue. Injury-prone midfielders, Kovacic, Kante not being available. We have to kind of manage their minutes, and that's kind of forcing the manager's hand to play other players that are maybe not suited to the game. Really, you wouldn't really play a Jorginho in this game in my head, because I thought Man United would sit in and counter, but they didn't. Then Koulibaly wasn't available as well, so he played Cucurella left side centre back. That left-hand side with Chilwell was not really working. I thought it would work a lot better than it has, but it's not. Chilwell for the goal is playing them on side, and then he doesn't, you know, jump. He doesn't really compete with Casemiro. Kepa's been saving us in games the last couple of weeks, so this has been kind of coming anyway. The performances haven't been up to scratch, but I haven't minded about the performances because one, Potter's only just come in and he hasn't really had even a full week to work with them training-wise. And obviously, B, we've got a lot of games, so we're just literally trying to get through them. But it's caught up with us, and now we're dropping points. So at this point, I'm just trying to get to the World Cup, get as many points on the board as possible. You probably hope to be around about in this position near 4th, and then just hopefully in the January transfer window actually bring in the players they need to bring in. But Chelsea have been spending
more
so
players.
Much. Do you know what it is, Robbie? Do you know what it is,
money
Robbie?
can
More
you spend?
players.
Do you know what it is, Robbie?
Jesus
You should be in the
Christ.
title race with the amount
Do you know what
you
it is?
spend.
Do you know what it is, right? They will spend money on every position but the midfield. We'll get centre-backs galore. Fofana, 70, 80 million. He's now injured. Cucurella, 60 million. Great player. But
Did you need Cucurella?
Did you need Cucurella as much as you needed a centre midfielder? No, you didn't. But Chilwell was coming back from a big injury, so I did like going for Cucurella. And don't get me wrong, I think he's a great player. And Chilwell is recovering, so I don't mind that. But you have to get that midfield taken care of.
£275 million spent.
Yeah, and the team still doesn't
And you're
doesn't
saying,
look right.
let's go back in for more players in January.
That's typical
need-
Chelsea, though.
Yeah,
isn't it?
just throw money at the problem
Chuck
till it
money at the
fits.
problem.
Literally, that is what we're doing because we don't have the solution in midfield. We don't have it, and we don't have it at right back when Reece James is out as well. The team needed complete surgery, but again, for me,
You had complete surgery.
surgery's not finished. Still limping.
Would you go and get Ronaldo? Do you think
No.
there's been rumours?
Me and you have had this conversation so many times.
No, but that's the rumour. Forget about me. Right? The rumours going around is that come
Shut it down.
January they're going to go in for Ronaldo.
No.
Your up front situation does kind of baffle me a little
No.
bit. I mean, I think Sterling obviously a good signing. Has he hit the ground running at you? Maybe not as much as you would have thought.
Started well, but
like the Aubameyang thing to me, it's just I don't know.
it looks weird.
It just doesn't fit to me. And I know you do struggle kind of with like the striker thing, and you have done for quite a long time, finding that right fit up top. But like I don't know what it is about it. It just doesn't look right to me.
The actual
Plus as
fixture.
well, with the, sorry to cut over you there. With the Aubameyang thing, remember he was brought in for Tuchel,
Yeah, that's a good point.
and then they sacked him a week after bringing him in. Yeah, that was the weird one about that.
The first thing I noticed in that game was that when we were committing men forward, we weren't committing enough numbers. It was literally like we were attacking sometimes with 2 players. When Man United went forward, they had Dalot overlapping Anthony. They had Fernandes, they had Ericsson, they had Rashford, they had
Malacia was
Sancho.
decent as well.
Yeah, they had so many people committed forward. They had numbers, they had bodies up there to actually do combination play, create opportunities. When we attack, we had like 2 players, maybe 3 if we're lucky. And for me, that surfaces from building the team really, and he shouldn't be our best player, but he is at times. Thiago Silva, 38, you got to look after him pace-wise. You got to look after Jorginho pace-wise. You got to look after Aspie pace-wise. There's too many players that you have to kind of negate from a mobility standpoint, regardless of how good they are technically, that it shackles the team and it makes them a lot more restricted and a lot more restrained and a lot more, we have to play the safe pass, we have to play safe and not commit because we have to cover them if we lose the ball. I think that's fundamentally what is wrong with Chelsea, is that they're just too slow. They're slow on the ball and they're slow off the ball.
Do we have to now start giving some real props to Eric Ten Hag? I mean, he got that great win against Tottenham, then goes to Chelsea, gets a point, but universally, even you just admitted, they were the better team. They're definitely playing better. When you compared what happened to them earlier on in the season when they got that real drubbing at Brentford, he has really, he's now beaten Arsenal, Liverpool,
Chelsea, yeah.
Got a draw against Chelsea and beaten Tottenham. I mean,
Felt like we lost.
do we need to start really giving him his props? He's doing a great job now, isn't he?
Yeah.
The thing
He's
with
doing
him
a great job.
is he's still got to deal with this whole Ronaldo thing, which no
He's
one
dealing
is.
with it now, isn't he?
But no
He's
one's
now dealing with it, isn't it? Because
no one's asking him different questions apart from that. So I feel like he'll really be able to flourish and implement his true style once that situation is just done and swept under the rug. But
he's
it's
already
a
starting to
distraction.
implement it, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
I've been very impressed.
If you look at where
with
they
the change in style of how they're playing. Listen, when you go in as a manager, especially straight away, the first thing that I guess the owner and the fans want to see is they want to see you, getting the best out of the players you've got. Rashford's different now, all of a sudden. He's getting the best out of Rashford. He's getting the best out, like you just said, Anthony, all of a sudden, he's come in, he's hit the ground running. He's getting, Varane, up until his injury on Saturday, he's been getting the best out of him. A lot of players in the team he's been getting the best out of.
I think they've recruited smartly, and that's something that I think we haven't been able to say about Manchester United for quite a long time. I think Casemiro, great signing for Manchester United. You can see the difference he's made. I think having Ericsson, taking him on a free, great. See the difference he's made. I wanted him back at Spurs. I think Anthony, a lot of money for Anthony. Didn't know if it was going to work. Looks good. Lissandro Martinez. Another one that came in, everyone obviously mocking him about the height kind of thing, but
looking good.
Took a few games to get going, but looking really good. And obviously now we'll see what happens. Now Varane is obviously going to be out injured, we assume. And that kind of partnership that he was building there is something that United have really been lacking, obviously, with the Maguire situation and the kind of uncertainty at the back. So I think that there's a big credit for what they've managed to do in turning around what they were.
And he's dealing with the difficult situations
with
like
Ronaldo.
Maguire out. I mean,
he'll be back in now, though.
Yeah, but he'll be back in now maybe because of injuries, but he's been out. He said, you ain't been good enough, out, and that's a major decision which other managers didn't want to make that. Even though they knew it needed to be made, has made a difference. And with the Ronaldo situation, I mean, that's a very difficult situation to deal with. And he's basically said, yeah, listen, the other day you ain't coming on. Walk down the tunnel, you ain't playing in the next game. And he's winning that battle now. You wouldn't have thought, Ollie wouldn't win that battle, would he?
I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have done it. I don't think he would have done it. Because I think that he was obviously, he played with Ronaldo and he was close with Ronaldo. That type of thing. I think this guy's come in and he's taking control.
The last guy's.
Rangnick
wouldn't have won that battle.
No, and you could see he was kind of losing that battle. But I think that it's obviously to do with the approach. I think that Ollie was too soft. I think Rangnick was obviously way too harsh in a different way that it kind of got everybody's back up and they were never buying into it. And I think that Ten Hag's kind of come in. He knows the job at hand. This is Manchester United and they've been flailing the last, kind of 10 years or so. And I think he knew what had to be done. And everybody knew on and off the pitch, or anyone who is and isn't associated with United, it needed someone to come in, steady the ship, turn it around and put their foot down and say, this is Manchester United. No player is bigger than the club. I'm not having the behaviour we've all seen here under X, Y, Z managers. And this is my time to come in and actually revolutionise this club because it's the biggest club in the world.
I think for me, the biggest difference is that he's a good coach. the other two that we just mentioned aren't good coaches. One is a technical director who hasn't coached in God knows how long, and the other one is Ollie. And let's be real, he's still unemployed.
What is he doing
for
now?
a reason? So
what's he up to these
when
days?
you're a good coach and your methods and your training shows on the pitch, that gives you authority to make big decisions. You can't do that if you don't have a real style like Ollie and you're kind of relying on individual brilliance, Bruno Fernandes, Ronaldo. You can't do that if you're a technical director who's an interim manager who doesn't really have the full backing of the board potentially long term and doesn't have the power. Before Ten Hag came to Manchester United, he was hell-bent on saying, listen, you have to do everything the way I want it done, recruitment-wise, player power-wise, because otherwise I'm not coming. And you can see even the difference at Ajax now in Champions League. They're getting whooped some games because it's not easy when you haven't got a proper coach.
There's still a very, very long way to go there.
There is a long way to go.
Yeah.
And it's early days, so we have to remember that.
Soleil BJ says, wow, Robbie, that's class from you. Eric Ten Hag deserves credit, and he's still cooking. No, you've got to listen. You've got to, credit where credit's due. He's doing a good job at the moment in taking over a very difficult job.
But their recruitment, every single position they bought, you could see the purpose. Like, Maguire needed to be taken out of that team. In comes Martinez. The left back, sure, he's been very inconsistent. They're bringing someone to kind of push him further and re-motivate him. DM, we all know last summer they desperately needed that. They didn't get one. They went for other signings. So they're addressing what they need to address, and that's part of it as well.
This fixture of Chelsea versus Man United has thrown up 5 draws in a row now, and it's actually becoming... It's not... I mean, listen, you got a point, they got a point, you shared it, but it wasn't nice to watch.
No.
We're not talking about an amazing game.
But that was more because of Chelsea than Man United. Because Man United were having a go.
Maybe, yeah. But listen, as we said, there's a long way to go. If you look at where he started off this season to where he is now. I was just about to...
A Liverpool fan, you're getting a bit frightened. I get it.
Cut me off. I was just about to credit him, but yeah, it's a long way to go.
Well, go on. If I cut you off.
Not doing it now.
You can credit
The first game of the season, they lost 4-0. And if you look at the performance yesterday compared to that, then obviously it's a huge improvement. But it had to be. There wasn't any getting worse than where they were. So
yeah, this guy here, Gunnar says, don't forget, Robbie, they spent £225 million in the summer, plus the squad was already good when he came in. Yes, but still, you know what I mean, they've been failing. And, you speak to United fans, they're getting their confidence back, aren't they?
I'd say they had parts of the puzzle, but not the whole thing. And I think that with what they added to it in the summer, it's making more, it's putting the pieces more together now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on from that. Where should we go next? Actually, let's stay on Saturday because some of the other Saturday games were Everton getting a 3-0 win over... That surprised me.
Yeah.
I thought Palace would go there and do all right, but that was an excellent win for Lampard.
Really good.
Especially after what's happened with Gerrard this weekend. I mean, Lampard saying, hey, yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah.
That was an impressive win, wasn't it?
Better player, better manager.
So why did you try and sign him 4 times then if Lampard was better?
He is great.
Why did you try and sign Gerrard if Lampard was better?
Because just in case Lampard get injured.
Oh, okay. Piss take this guy, man. Smash the likes, by the way. We've not got as many likes as we need to
He
have
would
right
have come,
now.
by the way, if you guys actually let him.
Sure. Yeah.
Smash that like button, yeah. Smash that like.
Dickhead, man.
Smash that like button if
Impressive
you think
performance,
Lampard is better than Gerrard as a manager.
Do you know what? Hit the dislike button. Even a dislike button, it's all engagement. So.
We're gonna get to. You know what? We'll get to Villa soon as well.
That is a disgrace.
Manchester City 3, Brighton 1, Haaland again with another 2 goals and a brilliant goal by Kevin De Bruyne.
point.
Who cares, man?
Yeah, move on.
It's
That one's
just
just.
silly.
What's the
It's
point
just-
of
What's
even
the
going
point?
into that
Enough
one?
is
It's
said.
so dead.
Who cares about Haaland,
To be fair though, I actually didn't think City played that well against
They
you.
didn't.
I really didn't. I thought they looked pretty off it for City, and I think you can notice it a lot when they when they have a slightly off day.
Yeah.
But normal service is resumed.
He's going to... So what was the top goal scorer last season then, in terms of goals? Was
23, Son.
So he is...
Son
and Salah.
He's going to have more than last season's
By
Golden
Christmas.
Boot
Yeah.
winner by World Cup.
By
Yeah.
Christmas, yeah. Well, yeah.
That's a safe bet.
By
Yeah.
mid-November, it's not.
I
even
remember they're
Christmas,
taking
is it?
him off in these games, so he's not even being
So
able
fine.
to stay on.
I just honestly, whoever City have that first game back after the World Cup, where he's been sitting there for like a month, just like
Hibernating.
waiting,
I feel sorry
hibernating.
for, though.
I feel so sorry.
Julian Alvarez. I feel sorry
Yeah,
for
I
him.
know.
He
Also,
was
this-
bought in like
this guy-
January to come in the summer, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's going to replace Sergio. He's buzzing. He's getting his kit." squad number and all that, and he's about to start, and they go, oh, by the way, no, you're on the bench, Haaland.
Look, he's going to get cup games and stuff.
He's
And
a
this,
good
but
player
this is the
when I've
thing.
seen
This
him
is
as well.
why you know, unlike City, most people don't have a squad and the depth that City have, and that's why City are so successful. Because
We haven't even seen Phillips
They can
yet.
do that. Yeah,
what a
I
waste of
forget
a
Calvin
transfer
Phillips
that
even
was, by the
there.
way.
But
I never liked that signing
listen,
when
they
it
got
happened.
a big City up for it because, you know, as we just said, the amount of money that Chelsea spent in the summer
True.
on top of the players they've got, they could have went and got their similar type of players as well.
Yeah. But here we are. The recruitment's awful. And
Trossard, by the
this
way.
is
I know,
Trossard is a player.
That's-
Let's shout out to Brighton because
Trossard, who can leave the at the end of the season on a free.
that's it.
That's
So
it. That's
does
a
he,
good
does he
player.
make
I
a
see,
move?
I see him
That's a
getting
good
snapped
player.
up in January.
Would you take him?
If he has a good World Cup, by
I
the
would
way,
take
Yeah.
it, yeah.
that could
I'd
triple
take him.
his.
I would say Arsenal
definitely
actually
take
linked
him.
with him in the summer. So
Scores goals against big teams.
He does. He loves it.
it's really come to the fore now. Let's talk about Aston Villa 4,
Robbie,
Brentford
man.
0.
Such banter. It's so funny for
know what I don't
Villa.
like about this result, bro?
Gerrard's sacked.
very
As
slimy,
soon as
isn't it?
Slimy,
he's
bro.
slimy
It's
team,
the
aren't
players. How dare
so
you not
jokes,
perform for so long, and then like that you perform?
But you see that loads of
How-
times with
I know,
managers.
but I
you
don't
see,
like
you
it.
see it
I
so
don't like
many
it.
times when a manager leaves and the team. Because we were
It's
talking about
cheating
it on
for
the
me.
show the other day
That's cheating.
with me and Flex on game day preview, and we were like not sure how this could go. This could either be like, oh no, they really are that bad, and it could just be like they might manage a draw or something like with the mentality, or you could see it go completely the other way, which it did.
Mustafa says the Stevie G effect.
Just shows you they obviously weren't a fan of Stevie G, were they?
To be fair though, they did
rubbish.
try against Chelsea when they played us. I was very
Tyrone
impressed.
Mings gave you 2 goals.
Yeah,
Basically.
there was individual errors. So I was like, they're still playing for the manager. It didn't look like they fell off for him. But then obviously midweek, that was just, that was an annihilation. So I don't know, but they look great. And the Burgundy boys are back. So it's,
They've
it's,
got a very- they've got a
AGT,
good
this
squad.
guy called Harry
They've got a
Kane
good
says,
Here we
AGT, I know Gerrard is your boy, but he hasn't proven anything.
Well, he's won the league.
I don't think you could. Yeah, he won the league as a player.
Invincible.
The guy's asking
You
you
like
as
that
a
word,
manager.
don't
Manager.
You like that word?
And he didn't win the league as a player.
manager.
Yeah.
He won it as a manager.
Yeah, as a manager.
Yeah, that was in
That's what-
Scotland.
Listen, obviously I'm going
That
to
was in
stick up for him,
Scotland.
but don't you think it's poor from the players to down tools? And then
Actually,
pick
no,
them
I
up
don't.
again?
I don't.
But did they down tools? Because
I don't.
They played well against
I
Chelsea.
think that's a
Fulham,
very.
3-0.
You know what it is, right? I've heard a lot of people say that this week in punditry, right? And I think a lot of that is mates talk.
Yeah.
Right, because it's Steven Gerrard. They don't say that when it's other managers. Why is it? He's getting so much credit, right? Let's just be real about it, right? He was a disaster at Aston Villa.
Worse win
gone out
percentage than Neville at Valencia.
Hold on. Forget it. Never was a disaster at Valencia.
Yeah.
No, it was worse
Yeah,
than that.
worse
That's what
than
I'm
that.
saying. It
Worse
was
than
worse
that.
than that.
He was worse than Valencia. I mean, listen, right?
With all
Some of the things that I saw Steve Gerrard do, right? That even me as an Arsenal fan, I'm looking at him thinking, that don't seem right that you've done that.
Like what?
The way he called out Mings in
Yeah.
public that time, in that press conference, which I thought was very unnecessary. You've dropped him, you've taken the captaincy away, right? And you've given it to John McGinn. That's cool. That's your decision. But it's the way he was in that press conference, he wasn't really asked the question in that way. And he said, listen, he was imposed on me. Never my captain. Didn't want him as my captain. That's why I brought in John McGinn. I just felt the way you did that for a guy that's been obviously a very popular guy at the club, right? He's been there for a long time, has been the captain. I thought, did you really need to sort of
Disrespect.
Yeah,
in that
disrespect him in that way? And even though Mings
got
got
him
on.
sacked in the end, so
way. Yeah, the last
got
laugh.
his
Yeah,
karma.
because remember, I think what we're seeing here again is another case of great player, crap
It's
manager.
still so you can't
It's the
say
same-
crap manager. Robbie.
same thing with
You
Roy
can't
Keane.
Say that. He's
It's the
already
same
done
thing with
more
Roy
than
Keane.
what Rooney or Lampard have done. He's literally gone and won the league.
No, that's in
You can't
Scotland.
call him a crap
in
manager
Scotland.
if he's won beat
I think-
Celtic in the
I
league.
think
That's disrespectful.
You could have a shout of winning the league in Scotland.
That's
And I ain't-
disrespectful.
It's not disrespectful.
It's calling him a crap manager after
So
he's already
can I
got
just
a
ask you a
decent
In the
question?
Premier League.
Can I ask you a question? Because obviously there was a lot of talk that he
Still
was going to be
early, though.
poised to take over at Liverpool at some point. So let's say Jurgen Klopp left tomorrow. unforeseen circumstance.
Pep Linda straight in number.
So,
two,
so you,
goes to one.
but if Gerrard is good, and you're saying, well, he won the league in Scotland, why are you not taking him?
Yeah.
Because he's not good enough yet.
But he won the league in Scotland. That's your argument.
No.
Sorry, that was just
Abby,
the
no, that's out of order as well because he
that's a
was
great
never
point, Abby. I
he was
agree
never
with you.
supposed to come in now.
But
It was always in 3 or 4 years.
You're saying because he won the league in Scotland. Brendan Rodgers won the league in Scotland.
Okay,
so
and he got a job in Leicester in the Premier League.
So that's what I'm saying. So Gerrard's had a job at Villa.
After Liverpool.
It was never going to be straight now.
So
it
go
was
to
like
Liverpool
3 or
first,
4 years.
and then go
it
to
was
Leicester
supposed to be in around 3 or 4 years. It was going to happen. Maybe it was never going to happen. But right now, if you're saying, would I take Gerrard? Obviously not.
Just a query.
Obviously not
Just
yet.
a query because
No, but you're defending it.
Robbie, he's had 10 months as a manager in the Premier League. Let's see what he
But he won
does
the league in
and achieves
Scotland.
in the next 4 or 5 years.
Where do you think he manages next? Premier League or Championship?
Championship.
I think maybe abroad would be an option as well. Why not? Go and try that out. But I think
I honestly do think he could get another job in the Premier League just because of who he is.
His name.
Because of the name and the stature. But the problem is, what I'm saying here, is that great players don't always make great managers. We saw it with Roy Keane, right? You would think to yourself, of all the people, he's going to make a great manager because he was a great captain.
Nah, he's too mad.
Bro,
But the thing is,
He's too mad.
No, I think Championship would be a good bet. That's not me being disrespectful, by the way. I think that this is also where Frank Lampard, I thought he would go. Yes, okay, we've seen what he's doing at Everton.
No, but remember Lampard was at Derby, wasn't
Yes, so that was what I was.
And then
That was
got
what I was saying.
Chelsea,
If he
and
would have
then
stayed at Chelsea
absolutely ruined
longer,
them.
I think he might have been more successful. Potentially later down the line at Chelsea. I think that it was too quick for him to go from doing Derby to going there. I think you need to nurture and take your time. Maybe a bit how Wayne Rooney was doing that type of thing before he obviously left. But I think that for me, if Steven Gerrard went and was in the Championships and stayed at a club for maybe 2-3 years, maybe the development of that allows you to be a better manager.
Yeah, I've got a Villa fan here who says, oops, oh gosh, I just missed it. I think he was saying, shush AGT. We played a complete different style yesterday. We had a high press and we finally dropped McGinn and started with Leon Bailey.
He was great on the left side.
Who was brilliant in the game.
Gerrard.
And by the way,
So is John
Lampard wasn't a disaster at Chelsea. We made top 4, got to the FA Cup final.
Did well that season with all them
blooded in
kids.
a lot of youngsters in that season
Yeah.
when he lost Hazard. And then he was actually top of the league until November and then had a disastrous Christmas and got sacked. So let's not use Lampard to big up Gerrard.
I don't
You
think.
just
I
fight-
think
fight
it's
Sorry,
lazy,
I-
it's
I-
lazy to
fight
do
your own
that.
Sorry, I
battles,
can't. I'm being a bit mischievous here, but I can't resist this
Here we
one
go.
from
Go on, read it
Joshua
out.
L. Says Stevie needs a number 2. He's recommending Demba Ba.
Brilliant.
Love that.
That's just
Wonderful.
But that is terrible. But no, but seriously, no.
What, Denver Bar?
No,
Denver Bar? Come on, man.
Would you have him at Liverpool? So you're saying
Oh my God,
in
how
f-
many times
in a
have I
few
got
years'
answered this
time?
question? I don't know.
A lot
Who
more.
knows what's going to happen? It was never supposed to be he comes in tomorrow and solves all the problems.
It was just a hypothetical
It was
question.
a thing that people like us have been talking about in the press, and it's built up. He's probably never even thought about that. But in 3 years, after he does go away or earns his stripes and gets back up the rankings again, who knows? But
Okay.
right now, it's way too early. He's only
Another manager
barely
who could
40.
be another post that might be vacant is the Leeds one. Leeds losing at home to Fulham. Willian with the winner, right? You know,
Your favourite.
but, Jesse Marsh, man, he's on some rocky ground right now. I think he could be the next manager to go. Southampton won, Arsenal won.
Saka dive, yellow card. Should we talk about that?
I thought that was
Right.
absolutely. Let me just say, I thought
Go
the
on,
referee
gonna
in the
defend
game.
it.
Of course, I'm going to defend it.
No, that dive was the yellow.
No, he
card.
was not. He was. What do you mean dive? He didn't
He
dive.
got booked for simulation.
He got
Saka.
booked for some. Have you seen it?
Yeah, of course I have. It was a dive.
Think I think because I reckon
Now
that
he's
was,
gone-
if that
now
was
you've
Salah-
gone-
That's what I mean.
I reckon
Now
that
you've
was
gone
Salah.
blind. Now you need to go
Oh,
to
you're
Spectacles.
blind. He got booked for diving. Are you
He
not
got
gonna
booked
talk
for
about
diving.
that?
He shouldn't have been booked for diving because he was kicked. He was kicked. He didn't dive.
So why did he get
the
booked for
referee in that
diving
game?
then?
Listen, I'm going to go full on Arsenal
Come
right
on, then,
now
let's have it.
and say that the referee. First of
The
all,
referee.
I'll say that Arsenal first half were
Didn't deserve
absolutely-
to win, didn't do enough
absolutely
to win.
brilliant in the first half. Had we have put away our chances, we could have been about 3-4 up. Scintillating football in the first half. I think give it to Southampton. They came back in the second half. I think midway through the second half, they came back. They scored a great goal. Granit Xhaka, by the way, another
Great
banger
finish.
on his right foot.
Great finish.
But I thought the referee was poor in the game. Now I'm gonna refer to the penalty incident. I don't know if you guys have seen it. They didn't even really highlight it on Match of the Day, and this is why I'm glad we have these sort of channels where we can talk about these things, right? The day before, we saw the penalty given for Chelsea, McTominay holding Brozier. Quite right, I think. Did you guys all agree that was a...
Yeah, I could see it given. I could see sometimes that it's not
Penalty.
given, but I can see that
Penalty.
that's given.
Penalty.
Yeah.
Now, you tell me what the difference is between that one and the one yesterday we saw with Jesus, apart from the fact that he did it twice. He tried to get Jesus outside the box. Jesus keeps going in to try and get there, and then he grabs him again with both arms round him like that.
Just wanted a
And the
cuddle.
referee gives... He just wanted a
cuddle.
cuddle.
I think
Maybe he did.
sometimes they go for you and sometimes they don't.
Jesus maybe had a soft one.
Yeah.
It's
Jesus has had a
inconsistent.
very questionable one against
Very
Liverpool.
questionable.
Gabriel
Funny
got
how
away
you
with
forgot
murder
about
that
that
day,
one,
and Jesus got one out of absolutely nothing. So I think sometimes you just got to take them. Sometimes they go
No,
for you.
no,
sometimes
no,
they
I
don't.
think the
Let me
referee...
say
Luck,
something here.
sometimes
I think
they
as a
don't get the
person-
luck.
I'm going to call you out
It
now
happens.
because
As a
It
person,
happens.
as a person who watched the whole game, right, that decision yesterday was shocking. When you see what happened the day before, you can't say sometimes
Robbie,
it goes
we
through
can say
some...
the other way for you.
It-
I know what you're
before.
going to refer to. You're
You've
going to
had
refer
one
to
where
maybe...
Why are we not talking
Hold
about
on.
Jesus not scoring clinical?
Wait,
Why are we?
one second.
It's always the referee
One second.
with
You're going to
Arsenal
refer...
fans.
You're going to refer...
Always.
Well, you're going to refer to the one... Which one are you going to refer to?
Well, you can
where
pick
Jesus
any.
shouldn't-
But should Jay-
All right,
should-
tell
You
me.
shouldn't be talking
Which
about the
one?
referee. You should be
Should
talking
Jesus
about
have
why
taken-
you haven't done
taken
enough
his
to win the
chances,
game.
though? He didn't take
No,
his
no, no.
chances, did he?
So didn't I say that?
Straight
right?
away, it's the
I
ref.
actually said that before I started talking about the ref.
But we got to talk
Straight
more
away,
about that
it's the
because he's
ref.
got to take his
Right.
chances, isn't he?
He
If
should
you
have
guys
took
are-
his- he
if
should
you-
have.
If you guys are going to sustain a title challenge, and I'm not saying that you should because that's way overachieving, but if you are going to be in this title race,
Got to take our chance.
you see what Haaland's doing. That is that. Obviously, no one's going to reach that level, but that is what separates the two teams over the course of a season is taking your chances. I like Jesus a lot. I think he's been brilliant for Arsenal. But these are the moments where you can see where maybe this is why City played him out wide, and maybe in January as well. Like I said, with those top ups, if you're looking to really sustain it, you just go and get another body up. there that
I
can get
agree
you-
with that. I
can
agree.
get you
I
goals.
mean, listen, I've been saying, and I even said it earlier on when we was talking, that I feel that we still don't have the squad to maintain it. And if we do we're still in a similar position and we get to January, we have to strengthen. We definitely need, I've said it right from the start of the season,
Have to.
that we need another midfielder and we need a backup striker, right? Jesus, he didn't have, the thing is, he didn't have a poor game yesterday. He was very, very good.
He's always a very
But he
there
should
or
have took his.
thereabouts.
He's had 2 games now where he's missed big. He missed a big chance against Leeds the other day, where we would have put us 2-0 up,
Yeah.
and he missed. I mean, it was a great recovery tackle by Elanusi,
He had a good game.
but I think Jesus should be putting that away, and he had one in the first half as well. So, but I still thought the refereeing in the game was poor. London Nomad says the refereeing is shocking and inconsistent. Excuse me, there needs to be more talk of the referee's decisions in games. Might them introduce a challenge system like tennis and cricket?
That is VAR though.
That's what VAR's
No, I think he's talking about, like in tennis and cricket where you can
Like if
challenge.
it's out, you can challenge.
Yeah, you can challenge it and
Hawkeye
look
and
at it again. Yeah, a bit like Hawkeye. I guess that's a good idea. It might slow the game
Slow
down
the
a
game
bit
down,
too
though.
much.
Yeah, just take the momentum out
But
of it.
certainly the refereeing is getting very inconsistent.
I do agree.
for
I
me.
think the refereeing is really poor and it is really inconsistent because some are given when they shouldn't be necessarily given, and some that maybe are more penalties are then not given.
But we say this
This
every
guy,
week.
But it does
um,
balance
it's every
itself
week.
out
Matthew-
over the
you
course of
Matthew
the
Blame the
Emerson
ref.
says,
Gotta win
Robbie,
the game."
you're talking nonsense. It's always the referee.
Yes.
You lose. We deserve the
I
draw
agree.
with 5 of our best players out. He's a Southampton fan. Listen, big up to you, Matthew.
Matt
And,
Letizia,
Would you
isn't
say
it?
you're...
big up to Matthew, right? And I just said,
Matthew Letizia.
right, that I thought, the way they came on in the second half, I'm not sure if they deserved a point, but they worked hard and, they was under siege for a lot of the game. And I'm not even.
Gotta give them
I'm
some
not
credit.
even.
Yeah.
I'm not even totally disappointed with the point because we didn't lose the game. So
I
I think that is a game that last year, the game that we lost last year was a bit identical to this one because when we played Southampton, they are a bit of our bogey team, right? When we played them last year, we had chance after chance after chance that we missed, and we ended up losing the game. So at least in this case, we didn't lose the game; we drew the game.
Are you guys
but I still
tiring a bit?
I don't know.
There's just been a couple performances where you can say.
I would like to say what I've seen in the last 2 weeks of Arsenal, and this is not me being salty or anything. I have just seen that you are beatable, because if Leeds would have had Rafinha last week or had someone that actually was a prominent good striker, you would not have won that game last week against
Bamford
Leeds.
was fresh.
If Bamford looked
Wouldn't
hungover.
have
Yeah.
He looked like he just woke up.
Wouldn't have won the game. We were winning 1-0.
You were, but I think that
And
the
as I
amount
said,
of
we
chances
should've-
Leeds created last week against you, if they had someone that could have was on it up front or had. You
No,
wouldn't
they
have won
didn't.
that game in the end.
Leeds to me didn't create.
They did create.
So hold on. Leeds.
watching the same game?
I was at the game. Leeds created one clear-cut chance.
They had
one.
so many chances last
have
week.
to run the
What were
tape
you
now.
watching?
Maybe.
What were you watching?
I don't know what you lot
It
are
was
watching.
like you were getting
He's got his Arsenal
peppered.
tinted glasses.
No,
on.
listen.
Last
Leeds.
week.
doing the what's it?
We've
You were getting peppered. If they just needed
Let
that,
me just
that
say to you
Sunday more
again.
killer in the box in that final
Let me
thing.
just say to
You guys are doing
You
the
were doing
puzzle.
Say to you
something.
again.
They were doing something. They were
Let me
doing
just say to you
something.
again. Leeds had one clear-cut chance.
Oh, this is.
Right,
Big chance created.
This is mad,
sinister. All right, tell me the other clear-cut.
They were creating chance after
Hold on,
chance after
all right.
chance. And if they would have had
Bamford,
somebody
Bamford.
that was on it
Okay.
up front last week who could have taken the chances they were creating, there's no way you would have won that. They
Right.
just,
Can
they
I-
just
get into
short.
your box?
Can I just ask
A
you this
lot.
question, right? And it's not me trying to be,
It is.
Could you tell me one occasion in the game where they hit the bar, hit the post, or Ramsdale had to pull off a great save? A great save.
Ramsdale did
You
pull
like-
off an
great
unreal
save.
save. in
What
the first
was
half.
the unreal save?
What was it? It's
Every
like
save
an
he
unbelievable
pulled,
save.
he pulled
There
off.
was quite a-
He pulled.
It was
He
a
pulled
world-class
off.
save,
There was
that.
quite
He
a
pulled
few.
off. No, he didn't pull off any
There
world-class
was
save.
quite
He
a
pulled off. He
few.
pulled off a good save, but all the saves that he made in the game, which weren't many, were saves you'd expect him to make.
So
I think-
in that
I
game,
think-
you weren't worried about Leeds equalising.
Of course, I was worried about Leeds equalising. In the second half, Leeds played really well. They put it on us, but they didn't have many clear-cut chances. I think
I
because
disagree.
you lot are so
I
desperate.
swear to you, it's
You're
not.
so
This is
desperate for
not. This
Arsenal.
is not me
No,
being
relax,
salty.
relax,
This is
relax,
not
relax.
me
I get
being
it.
salty.
I
This was
get
me
it.
watching the game last week.
I get it.
And thinking to myself, obviously, come on, Leeds, but thinking to
I
myself,
get it.
they're making
You're
chances, they're
desperate.
peppering you, and why have they not got
This is what
someone
happens
that
when
can
you're top of
put
the table.
this in
This
the
is
back
new.
of the
Listen,
net?
this is why
I
Feels
like
good,
it,
doesn't
and I
it?
love it. Right, and
what
I
happens
get
when you're
it.
top of the
right?
table.
And I get it.
I just
We're all-
noticed you are beatable.
looking
You
very
are.
beatable.
You are beatable.
We're watching you.
Well, it
And
ain't
this is
that
not
much.
me.
We're watching
It ain't
you.
that much.
This is what
And
happens when you're
obviously,
leading.
before that, you'll come for me in the chat. Yes, I'm aware Spurs did not beat them. I'm not saying we're the ones to beat them. I don't know, but I'm saying that from what I have witnessed in the last 2 weeks of watching Arsenal, you beatable.
But we haven't lost.
And the Saka dive. Thank
Well,
you.
you have lost. You lost to United.
No, you said in the last couple of weeks of watching us, we're beatable, but we still didn't lose in them last
But I
couple
think
of weeks.
you will lose.
It's coming.
Huh?
It's
it-
coming.
is it
That's
Listen,
what I'm saying,
listen,
it's
of
coming.
course,
Warning signs?
of course we'll lose, right?
My stomach
You know what I mean?
is
Of
rumbling.
course.
Me
You
too.
know
I'm
that?
starving.
You see, yeah, all that rubbish
Hungry
you're
for
chatting.
3
You know what I mean? Now your stomach's starting to churn up on you.
Starving.
Listen,
Starving.
of course,
What is this?
of course. Listen, of course, Arsenal are beatable. Of course, they are beatable. But what I'm saying at the moment, I know you lot are hurting. Here's a new thing for us.
You got
We haven't had for a
nosebleed.
lot of years.
Hella nosebleed.
You're hurting because you come in here today thinking.
I'm hurting
You
because
know,
you've lost to the
sometimes, Robbie,
bottom-
you
lost-
can be biased.
You've lost to the team that's bottom of the
can
league.
be.
I get it.
Yeah, obviously,
Right?
I've
You're
already
hurting
spoken about
because you're home to Man United and you had a poor performance and you thought like you said, you thought you was coming in. You even said it in your
I'm
own words.
good, man.
You said you were coming in to celebrate.
Yep.
Right? And that
Shamelessly.
got pushed away. And you're hurting because we're going to go on to your game right now. Right?
I'd like to tap out at this
Oh.
point.
I like this one from Greg. He says, Robbie, they're all salty. I can see it in their
wasn't being
faces.
salty.
She did say that.
It
at the
sounded it, Abby. It
It wasn't.
sounded.
I was just giving my own analysis from what I've been watching. No salt.
beginning. They don't want to hear any
I
negative
commend you as
thoughts.
well. At the same time, I equally commend you on how you've been playing
Yeah,
this
you're
season.
top of the league. Well done. You're doing well.
Let's move on. No, listen, I get it as well. When you're at the top of the league, especially I feel Arsenal, right? You haven't seen our fans sort of.
It's just
Our-
Arsenal,
our
they go
team-
straight to the referee.
You
when
haven't
draw.
seen
Straight to the ref.
Well, you don't mention the refs. I didn't hear you
we
talking
played
about
badly.
refs last week
We-
and the week
what?
before.
Whoa, what?
When you played Arsenal, you weren't talking about refs.
Yeah, but they were wronged. They were wronged in that game.
Did you see?
They were wrong.
You weren't talking about refs. I've heard you talking about refs on numerous occasions this season.
Because of
But
the
we weren't
because
good
of the
enough to win.
inconsistency.
Right,
Why don't
and
just
you
admit
can't
weren't
talk
good
about
enough to
refs
win?
because the
Just
amount
admit
of...
you weren't good enough to win the game and you should
No,
have
I
scored.
said it right at the start, though. That was the thing, is that I said it
Say
even
it.
before I started talking about the refs. I said that fair play to Southampton. I thought they, you know...
Let's rewind the tapes on that as well, by the
No,
way. 'Cause I'm pretty sure it was ref straight away.
No, it wasn't the ref straight away. It was...
We need
it
to
was-
start keeping receipts.
We do.
I
think.
spoke about...
Definitely.
Take it
I
back.
spoke about... People watch it back. I spoke about, first of all, that we didn't take our chances. I spoke about how we had a great first half, which we did. And I spoke about Southampton, how they scored a great goal. Then I spoke about the ref. Then after that went up and said, well, but we should still have won the game if we took our chances. So, but anyway, let's move on, man. Newcastle against Tottenham.
Matty Renton.
Hello.
Tottenham v Newcastle.
Floor is open to you.
Credit to Newcastle. Credit to Eddie Howe. I think you know, since he's come in, obviously they have spent money, but as he also pointed out yesterday, a lot of the players, such as Joe Linton, such as St Maximum, for example,
Almiron stepped it up.
have already been there, and I think credit to him and the job he is doing. They're a work in progress. I think that this season for Newcastle is a season they could absolutely capitalise. Maybe I don't expect them to finish in the top 4, but I think definitely in those top 6, top 8 places, especially with the World Cup, might not be having as many players going away. I think teams like a team like that this season, who is in that kind of next bracket, could definitely capitalise on the fatigue this season of other teams around them. I think, and I really think he's doing a great job. Maybe we could just brush past talking about Spurs. I think with Spurs, where to start?
Horrible to watch, Abby.
Horrible to watch. I think, look,
Speechless for once.
Conte's system works when you have 2 good fullbacks, and I say the same thing every time we talk about Spurs losing, because it fundamentally will always come down to that. It's a system that works when you've got quality. You don't have to have 2 quality fullbacks, but you have to have at least one. You know, we've seen it at Inter with Hakimi and Young. We saw it with Alonso and Victor Moses. Spurs' biggest problem was that in the summer they did not capitalise on getting 2 good fullbacks. Yes, they signed Jed Spence. I'm a big fan of Jed Spence.
Okay, he ain't playing.
He's not playing because Conte seems to say he's not ready. Obviously, we don't see what's going on in training.
Sell good
Absolutely.
enough fullbacks to buy.
We don't see what's going on in training with Jed Spence. He also makes it very clear Jed Spence was not his signing. However, I don't like the stubbornness. He needs to play. He's that you cannot tell me he is not better than what we have. Even if he's not playing, I know he's better than Doherty, Royale. Anyone that watched Forest last season knows he is better than what is out there.
As well, by the way.
Sanchez poor, but equally Romero has also been poor.
Dyer had a howler as well.
Dyer been very poor last few games.
Some of the passes.
Lloris, very poor. Obviously, I actually thought he had a good game against United. It could have been way worse than what it was, especially the way that Tottenham just didn't bother showing up. Just poor. Just really poor.
Manager?
Best start in 60 years last week, by the way, Tottenham.
Yeah, look, things can turn on a whim. It's very fickle football, as we know.
You happy with the manager?
Can't be happy.
That says no to me.
I'm not. I'm trying to find a way to put this. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm happy. No one is going to be happy playing that football. Put it that way, unless you're winning week in, week out. You know what it's like to play in a Conte, in a Conte team with Chelsea. You know what it's like to have that Conte system. When it works, it works, and you don't necessarily care how it works as long as it's winning. But once the tide turns and you're not winning, and you're not a team that is happy and comfortable to play that football, especially at Spurs when you like the free-flowing, lovely football we've seen under Pochettino, then you have questions being answered. I would also put into that, there are injuries for us. Obviously, we had 4 key players out yesterday. I think for us, Kulusevski is a massive loss, and we're seeing that more and more as the weeks go on.
Højbjerg as well.
Højbjerg. Son, I know we obviously had that game against Leicester, but Son is not at it this season at all. Same situation as Salah.
He missed an easy chance himself.
Normally buries them
Kane isn't an issue for me. Kane is still in form. There's no issue. Somehow he's still managing to get goals. But I just think that when you play in that certain system and you're very reliant on the fullbacks and getting crossed into the box, and you don't have fullbacks that can do that, you have a very big problem, and you don't have a plan B because you don't have someone like an Eriksen or someone who can
There's
go
no
and
one
create
creative
and do
midfield.
something other than Kane. You don't have that.
But that's
There's
the
really
system.
no creativity in the team.
Nothing.
That's the system that he wanted.
That is
that's
how
the
he plays.
system
That's
that he
it.
plays.
That's how he's always
That's what
played
he did.
football.
We ask this question: if someone said to you tomorrow, because his contract is up at the end of the
I know
season,
what you're going to ask me.
There
Pochettino
we
back
go.
now,
I knew that was coming.
So obvious.
or keep Conte. What would you do?
What do
we
you
know
think?
what she's
You know
going to
what?
say.
You
She's
know what
going to
I'm
want
gonna say.
Poch back.
Because I've always
tomorrow.
wanted Poch back. And that's not to say that I don't think Conte's a great manager. Conte is a fantastic manager, and wherever he goes, he wins something. Obviously, it won't happen at Spurs.
Obviously.
Because, well, it
Yeah,
just,
but
it
then
just
what's the
won't.
point?
It's just,
What's
it's
the
just not
point
going to
then?
happen.
What's the point then?
There is no point. And I think that it's very clear with the fact that he won't sign. He's obviously not signing the contract extension yet. Left. He's got 6 months it's up in May. I think what Conte's waiting on is seeing what happens in January. I think we started the transfer window very well. Bissouma, Richarlison, good. You know, building the squad up. Jed Spence was very happy about that. I think the problem is we didn't get rid of Royale, Doherty, got rid of enough deadwood, got rid of some deadwood, which was a good start, but not enough. I do see his point when he says it's a work in progress. I can't make you title challengers in 11 months. I don't think anyone thinks that we're title challengers. You know, it's not a realistic prospect for Tottenham. At the minute, especially after 11 months in charge. I think that the idea for the season was to build on last season. We had no right to get Champions League, and we did get Champions League. And I think it was just more to cement that kind of space we were in and play, you know, confidently and build that kind of stronger underbelly we had in the days of Pochettino. But when you still go to the top teams, you know, like Arsenal, when you do things that you've always done in terms of, you know, not showing up, dropping one in the back of the net like Lloris did, getting sent off, going to United and not even getting off the bus. I think that's the problem. That they are just still inherently just Tottenham. But it's true. And I think that is just inherent.
No, but this is why the guy was bought in. This is why you brought him in for,
Tottenham.
to change that,
But
to get rid of that Spursy
I don't think
tag.
you can change it in
Why?
such a short amount of time because it's in the
can't, though,
DNA of the
if he
club.
can't,
Hold on, let me
It's
just...
in
can.
the DNA of the club. You can't change it overnight, and it's a work in progress.
How
but
comes,
equally,
right?
he needs
So-
to
He's
commit
but he's
himself.
not a long-term manager.
But
Hold
that's
on.
the thing.
Let's
He needs
look
to
at-
commit himself to the
Abby.
project.
Yeah, and
Abby.
he hasn't.
He
and that's-
hasn't.
Let's
that's
look
the-
across the way, right? And Newcastle, their manager's also come in a short amount of time, right? And what he's done.
But there's not
Without
there's
spending,
not-
by the way, he's not spent what I thought. I thought they'd go mad,
Well,
Newcastle.
they can't spend it because
Right.
of financial fair play.
Right, but he's made every player better, right? And they are playing some great football. They're playing some beautiful football.
They
They were
are.
brilliant yesterday.
They are, but they're also
Newcastle,
not
let's
playing-
big them up. Well, what a fantastic performance. I said at the start of the season, I remember we went there last year, and when they turned us over, and I said to people, I go, they're a very good side. I go, that weren't no... I mean, even at the best of times, they're going to give teams trouble.
I think we're giving
And-
them the credit. Absolutely, we're giving them the credit. But I think they're also they're not playing. They're playing less games also in this kind of combusted season that we've got going on. They haven't got the European aspect at the minute. I'd like to
Yep.
see how they would fare if they were doing that at the
But
same
Eddie
time.
Howe's
which
doing
we
a great
might.
job, isn't he?
He absolutely is doing a great job.
Yeah,
And
'cause
take,
we've got a poll
take
here.
nothing away from that. Take
We've got a
nothing
poll
away.
here. Can Newcastle get into the top 4 this year? 38% of you say yes, but 62% say no. They don't think, but they've got, and they can go again in January. I think I saw an interview with Eddie Howe was saying that, you know, he goes, we'll take a look at it in January. And when I heard him say that, I go, that's scary with the amount of money they've got. I mean, they are building something there, aren't they, Matisse?
No, 100%. Their recruitment's been really good. They haven't even really been able to use Isaac yet. You know, he's been injured.
Yeah.
And that's a great signing.
As Almiron, I don't know.
Oh.
Grealish needs to apologise
Yeah.
because Almiron is
He
pissed.
took that personally.
He's very angry. And
Some of the goals he's scoring have been brilliant.
Some of the goals he's been scoring.
Salah-esque last night.
Yeah.
All right, chill out. Not Salah from Chelsea.
Jesus Christ.
You know what I mean? You ruined it.
Liverpool, honestly.
I mean, Ashai with a super chat, he says,
How are you hating on that one?
Spurs' performances against the big sides have been inexcusable, he says.
I agree, but that's not something that's just happened
Conte
under Conte.
said that as well.
It's not something that's just happened under Conte. This has happened plenty of times before with other managers.
But he was bought in.
Is this
I
is
agree,
Ancelotti
but
at
hold
Everton?
on a minute.
2.0?
Look how long the Arteta process has taken to even get going.
True,
Yeah,
Robbie.
but-
Facts,
but-
Robbie.
Look how
but-
long that has taken.
But there's a
Conte-
but
Look
Conte's
how
not a
long
process
it's
manager.
taken.
He's a
But then he
immediate
says,
manager.
but that's not what he's saying. He's saying trust my process. So therefore, if you want us to trust
However,
the process,
You trusted that process.
What process
but
brings
he's saying it's a
34-year-old
process.
Perisic in?
because that's
Yeah.
who he trusts. And I think he thought he might go and get someone else
That
even
sounds
better
like
on the
a-
other
Sounds
side.
like he needs a new process.
Can I just say though on that Arteta thing, right?
I want to go.
Honestly,
Can I-
that's
can
ours,
I-
guys. That's
Can
ours.
I,
Put
can
that
I,
down.
can I just say
That's
on that
ours.
Arteta thing?
We're
Yeah.
the current champions of that. so
Arteta
put
did
it
win
down.
the FA Cup in his very first year, and even whilst it's not the league,
That is also true.
brought him a lot of credit.
Absolutely.
And so
There's
right,
nothing
and
to say
and I'm
we
saying
won't win
that
something this year. There's nothing to say
know,
that we won't have a great
You didn't
second
say
half
that.
of the
just
season.
going back on what just
I
going
don't
back,
believe it. That's why.
just going back on what Matisse's point, right, is that he does look like a very short-term fix. So short-term, I think that Tottenham are looking for him to win
He
something.
wants to win.
It is
That's
a
what
lot
he-
of Tottenham
that's what he
fans I speak
thrives
to.
off.
A lot of Tottenham fans I speak to are like, Robbie, I'll tolerate it as long as he wins or something this
Yeah, he
year.
has
And
to.
I've said that to you in the past. I've
You've
said,
said it
I've
as
said
well,
that
yeah.
to you in the past. And I would tolerate it if we are going to win something.
That's not
However,
long term though. That's short term.
I agree. For me, I don't see him staying past this summer. I think Pochettino will come back, which is fine for me. I'm more than happy for that to happen. It's not anything bad about Conte. I think give Conte the right resources, he will win you something. But when he's sitting there and he's saying, you have to trust my process, I can also understand his point in saying that I've been here for 11 months, I've had one window, basically. Okay, he's had 2 windows if we include January. Don't think we did anything in January. Oh, no,
No,
of
you
course
did
we did.
Bentancur,
Bentancur and
Kulusevski. It's
Kulusevski,
a good
of
window.
course. And that was a great window. And I think the summer was quite a good window. So I think what he's saying is that it takes more than that. You know, where Spurs were at was a very big mismatch of still Pochettino's, some of his squad there, whatever Jose did, and then him trying to get stuff going and make his team what it is. And the back end of last season, we saw that. And we were playing well, we were playing nice football. It wasn't what we're seeing this season. And that's just what I'm not sure on, is where that disconnect is where that's coming from. We're not playing how we were. We're not, insatiable on the break like we were last year. We're not connected and creating things. So what has happened from last season to this season? Because a lot of the players are still the same. If
You're a
not,
bit fearful
you've
that
got more.
Harry Kane might, because he ain't signing anything.
He's got
either.
18 months left on the contract.
Are you a bit fearful that he might just say,
Bayern
That's
have
it.
been talking about him this week.
He won't
as well.
leave. He wants that record in the Premier League.
Do you think I mean, that's an incredible record to get, and if he does get
wants
it,
the
will be
record.
maybe the best striker goal-wise.
Matisse just said, Man
But-
United.
All time.
But if he
That'd be a good fit.
reassesses his goals and ambitions from I want to win loads of trophies to, well, I can't do that now, so I'm just going to have to go for this goal of being the top goal scorer. Do you feel like his career has suffered a bit by staying at Tottenham when you look at what's available to him now? That's pretty much his career
but that is
set out for him now.
That's at the end of the day Harry Kane's decisions, and that's Harry Kane's choices. He could go abroad. He could have gone, I guess, wherever he
So
wanted to.
individual honours
and
mean
win
more to
things.
him than trying to win a trophy with someone else, do you think?
I don't know. I just think
Or
that
a
he's
trophy
always been-
full stop.
I think he's been very, very set on staying in the Premier League for that reason, that he wants to beat Shearer's
He
record.
wants to go to Man City.
I think he wanted to go, but it was a very half-hearted bid. It was half-hearted because.
Imagine if he was at Man
but
City,
what
how many
was
goals he'd have scored. I mean,
but-
Get to the record quicker.
It would have got to the record quicker, but then when Haaland comes in, he's not going to. I don't know what you do with Harry Kane if you've got Harry Kane and Haaland in the same
they
team,
would not have
and
got
De
Haaland.
Bruyne.
Well, yeah,
and-
they would have got him
Yeah.
before Haaland, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would
But
have
I
got
think
the
they
summer
still had
before.
the view that they would probably have been able to go and get Haaland for 60 million. Why
Anyway,
would
let
you ever
me
miss out on
let me
Haaland?
just do because my laptop's gone dead now. London Nomad says Conte does not do process. Spurs aren't Chelsea to just bring in managers to win something. If he leaves, what does Spurs have in the tank?
Poch.
Is what he says. I think the
Just get
fact
my-
to
just
me,
get my
the
guy
fact
back
to
and
me,
just
the
make things right,
the fact to me
Just get
the
it
other
back.
day, like Villa offered Poch the job and he said no.
Yeah.
Holding out for
Is
Tottenham.
yeah, I think he's holding out for
Got to
Tottenham.
hold
I
out
really
for
do.
the one.
I
we
do
love.
think what you're saying is right though. They're just not cut out for the whole winning thing. It's just not them.
What was that for?
No, that's what you said. You
What
said
was
that.
that for?
That's what you said. You
No,
said,
what I said was that I don't think we've got. We just inherently. It's just in the
It's
DNA.
in your DNA. That's what I said.
It's in the DNA.
It's in the
Like-
DNA.
That's
They're like
peak,
that's
man.
not.
That
That,
is
And
I
so
said it. I've
peak.
said it so many
how
times.
many managers, top class managers,
Tottenham,
can come to Tottenham.
it's
You've got
in
one
the
of
crest.
Best. You've
It's-
got one of the best.
It's in the cotton
Conte.
fibre. I've said it before.
But it's not me that's saying trust the Conte process. It's Conte that's saying.
I was-
trust the
I
Conte
was,
process.
If he doesn't do it,
No one can.
nobody can.
I totally agree.
Matisse with the
100%.
violence, says Jason.
I just said what she said.
Hell of
I said
violence,
it back.
I the other day, I was at the Tottenham Stadium the other day. I went there for the NFL. I'm looking around the place, and I'm like, these guys, they got probably the best stadium in the country. They've got the best training ground, them and Leicester, right? I'm like, they've got everything in place to win things. They've got a world-class manager now. Why is it? I mean, don't get
alone, man.
No, hold on.
This is enough now. This is enough.
I'm making a good point, right? This is something I'm thinking to myself. I'm glad as an Arsenal fan, but I'm thinking to myself, why is it not working? Because they've got. You look at those three components: world-class manager, world-class players as well in Kane and Son, world-class training ground. What more can they do?
Because
I mean,
Pochettino made a very, very, very good statement that still is relevant nearly 5 years later, 4 years later. You can have the nicest house, the beautiful home, but if your furniture inside is crap, what's the point of having the nice house? And I'm not saying that the players are crap. I'm not saying that I think we've improved the squad from where it was in terms of depth and stuff last season. That's why I'm a little bit at a loss as to why the football was so bad when it wasn't like that the back end of last season under Conte. But it still stands. When you've had years and years of cutting corners and, you know, from Daniel Levy and co and trying to get a bargain here, get a bargain there, not really investing properly and building a squad, unlike what they did in the summer where they actually put the money in and gave it. Whatever Conte wanted, I don't know, but I was happy with a lot of those signings. It's a repercussion of years and years and years of cutting corners.
When you go through that team, there's not really that many world-class players, to be fair. Sanchez is awful. Let's just be real here. The right wing backs.
Because Sanchez isn't a starter. He's a squad player.
But he came in, didn't he? And
subbed off.
Yeah, subbed off. It's outside of Kane and Son when he's in form. Who else is?
Kulusevski is world class.
Kulusevski's world class?
Not yet.
He's world class. I'm telling you.
Listen, I was just protecting you.
From what I've seen,
too early.
From what okay, all right. Let me rephrase that.
Is Luis Diaz world class?
He's not world class because he's barely played this season. The back end of last season, would you not have looked at Kulusevski and said, "Oh,
world class is a bit much."
I would have said
he's got potential to be
world class is a bit much, though.
Not world class
yet. He's a player
yet.
that would be world class. I've rephrased it.
There's a lot of woods and ifs today, isn't there?
Every time I've seen him play. Game changer for Tottenham. Game changer.
They are missing him. Smokey Setting says if Spurs had a better window, they would have won something. There was another super chat that
big up to John.
Love the show. Alexis and Ozil or Saka and Martinelli.
Alexis and
Ozil were great. We need to wrap it up now. It's been great. It's been a great discussion today.
Felt like a therapy session.
Honestly,
you know what I mean? That's why I created it for you guys. You know what I mean? Some therapy.
You guys.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Do you know what? Yeah.
You know why I'm doing this, right? You know why I'm doing this here? You know why I'm doing this? Because I know they're all coming for me every single week. You're sitting there, you're looking at them results because you want to come for me. You want to come for me on this show, and we are going to lose, and I'll take it.
Robbie was late today.
I'm riding the wave.
I know you're the boss. You set the example for all of us, but unfortunately, you were still late today.
Very late.
So you are still, even though you are Don Robbie.
What's that late for?
Latest is not greatness.
Well, no, I have a great excuse because I was doing another show.
Oh no.
Right, so let me.
Jason,
right before.
Producer actually told us.
Before that, let's just run through as I always do. Look, that's how salty they are. They're trying.
That's actually spicy, not salty. That's spicy.
They're forcing it. I did it. It's not even like I've lost something. Or
you were late though.
I'm late. They're trying to. Oh man, you guys are getting desperate now.
Jason said.
Do you want me to get you lot some tickets in the Forest then next week? I mean, you're that desperate. You know what I mean? All right. Let's just talk about the league. At the bottom of the league, still, despite their fantastic win over Liverpool. Nottingham Forest are still bottom, but there are 9 points joint with Wolves, by the way. Wolves, a shocking defeat, 4-0 at Leicester, and Jamie Vardy, by the way, really gave it to them.
Red Bull as well.
Yeah.
Before he came on.
But
other drinks are available.
The bottom three are Leeds, Wolves, and Nottingham Forest. All three of them on 9 points. West Ham in 17th, but they do play tonight. Leicester, that was a great win for them because they go up to 16th in the table. At the top of the table, it's still Arsenal at the top despite dropping points at Southampton on 28 points. 2 points off of them is Manchester City. Both of them have played 11 games, so they've got 2 games. They've got a game in hand, over Tottenham. In third, who are on 23 points. Newcastle in the top 4 now on 21. Also, Chelsea on 21 have played a game less, though. And Manchester United, watch out for them. In 6th place now, just a point off of that top 4 place, and they've got a game in hand over Newcastle. Fulham in 7th, Liverpool in 8th, as it currently stands. Guys, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show
in
today.
The top 10.
It's been a
Do you remember when they were
pleasure.
11th and they still showed the top 11 for Liverpool?
Yeah, I saw
All
that.
right, do you want this? Jason, can we, honestly,
I'm just saying.
I thought that was done.
Listen, for years
Thought it
and
was
years
done.
we've had to listen to you. Can't we have a moment?
Quadruple.
You got your moment.
Can't we have a moment?
You were
Last
too
season.
late, though.
Quadruple.
Last season, you know what I mean? Can't we, you know what I mean?
Quadruple.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we've won a few games, man, and you're on my case. Yeah, I mean, we've had to listen to you for years.
No,
Right?
Ask Ty. I've been very humble when Liverpool.
You've never been humble. You and humble don't go together. Right.
Well, eat this chili, bro.
Right.
You're
Listen,
not
so
finishing this show without
West
eating
Ham,
this, Robbie.
West Ham and Bournemouth play
Please.
tonight. West Ham and Bournemouth play tonight. Matisse, thank you very much for coming on.
Appreciate it.
AGT,
We're
always a
not- the
pleasure.
show's not
Abby,
finished.
thank you very
What
much.
are you doing?
I'm not eating a
about the
chili. You're
concurrent
coming late.
viewers.
You have to.
Jason.
When did this become a thing?
Jason.
To
It's actually
become
I
late?
ate chili on Saturday.
No, for coming late.
Producers got to interject.
And even right, there's a reason why I was a few minutes late, and that's because I was doing
I
another
heard
show.
you talking outside for 5 minutes.
No, you
of
did not
time.
hear me talking
Yes,
outside.
we
You're
did.
lying. You know what I mean?
Jason, on your
You're
way,
lying,
just come on.
Right? Just because Arsenal are hot, they don't like it. But we'll be back
from
next week
well, you
with another
bottled
show.
Jason, you
Jason's
bottled
bottled
job.
that.
Wow.
Ruined it.
Stuck
Wow.
in your Tottenham
Get
bottle
rid
there.
of
Wow.
Jason now.
See you guys next week. Don't forget to subscribe
Joker.
here to DR Sports.
Madman.
Wow.